This is the Rays POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Tampa Bay Rays, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Tampa Bay Rays POSTCAST, your spot for instant Rays reaction after every single game. My name is Jonathan Shields, and man, does it feel good to be back in the win column. The Rays crushed the Reds 6-1 and get a much-needed bounce-back win, and we're going to break it all down for you here. But first, if you are new, please make sure to like and subscribe wherever you may be watching or listening. Leave a like and make sure you guys go follow me on Twitter at Johnny10Shields. Continue to be more down the whole. When we're going to talk about how the Rays so far this year are significantly hitting lefties way better, how the whole lineup I thought really contributed today. And it was just a big by talking about what I thought was one of the better Rays performances this year. And of course, Nick Martinez has this kind of game when he was questioned by me when him and Steven Matz were questioned by me yesterday on the Rays POSTCAST. But the first thing we're going to talk about is Nick Martinez.
This is what you'll be talking about.
8 innings, 6 strikeouts, only 1 earned. He got into trouble in the 5th inning. We're going to get to that in a second. But the word that comes to mind when watching Nick Martinez today is efficient. He was very efficient. They talked about the end of the broadcast about just 12 pitches an inning. He was getting soft contact, which is what he does. His changeup, I thought, was really good today. He utilized that high fastball to help set up the changeup. Man, he was just so good and much needed for the Rays. A lot of times when you're going through a streak and, 3 in a row, I don't know if you classify losing 3 games in a row as a losing streak. Well, a lot of times why it's so good to have an ace on the staff is because you go into that kind of next game with your ace, be like, okay, he's our streak stopper. Today, Nick Martinez was the streak stopper, and that's why he's definitely our player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
And Nick Martinez continues to just be so good for the Rays, having a 2.1 ERA so far this year. The Rays are now 4-1 in games that he pitches, and I'm just impressed by every game. He's the same. It's the same. It's what you expect. He's the highest paid player on the Rays team, but every game, you know what you're getting out of Nick Martinez. You're going to get the soft contact. The strikeouts might not always be there, but he's always going to generate that soft contact and do enough to do the job for the Rays. And today, I thought was by far his best outing. I think it was the best outing out of any Rays pitcher so far this year. Just really good to see Nick Martinez shine the way that he did today. But there was a big moment in this game so the Rays got that big 3 runs in the second. And it's always really good when the game plans out the way that we talked about. We talked about how this was a really good matchup for the Rays with Williamson, the Reds pitcher, because he walks a lot of guys. And the Rays have been really good about accepting their walks and not expanding their strike zone. And we saw that in the second inning. He walked a few guys. All of a sudden, Williamson gets a hit for the Rays. Williamson gets a hit. And then it just kind of spiraled from there. So it's 3-0. Junior hits a monster home run, I believe the 3rd inning. And then it's 4-1 or 4-0. And then in the 5th inning, it was bases loaded, nobody out. And that's where we get to our turning point of the game.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
To only allow 1 run out of that from Nick Martinez was, I thought, the biggest point of the game, because right there, that was the Reds' chance to get back into it, and he just didn't allow it. And he didn't look panicked. He didn't look stressed. He knew that he was going to get out of it. There's a look of confidence, a look of just calmness, to be honest. And he went out there, and he had to go through the top of that Reds lineup. And the Reds have gone a lead in every single game this series against the Rays. And he was able to get through with only allowing that 1 run. I thought that was a huge turning point in the game. And then I thought coming right back after that, in the bottom of the 5th inning, Vilade singled, and the Rays immediately got that run back. And then from there, it just kind of fell over, especially with the way that Martinez was pitching. And, so a lot on Nick Martinez there. But again, really impressed from him. And look, he's not going to have a 2.1 ERA all year. If he does, then it'll be the greatest signing in, single signing in Rays history for 1 year. But he just needs to be that quality 4th starter for the Rays. And he's been that and way more so far this year. Super happy for Nick Martinez. But let's talk about how the whole lineup really contributed. And that's what was one of our keys yesterday. A lot of the stuff we talked about yesterday happened today. Yandy with 3 hits. Aranda got on base twice. Junior had 2 2 RBIs. But the guy I want to talk about who I thought was a big X factor today was Ryan Vilade.
It's time to reveal who made the biggest under-the-radar impact with today's X Factor.
Ryan Vilade, in something I tweeted, he's looked way more comfortable since the White Sox series, I want to say. This is a guy I assume the Rays knew they were getting coming in this year. He knows that he's kind of has a roster spot here. He knows he's going to be in the lineup against lefties. And he knows his role right now. He's performing his role really well. Got on base every single time. Picked up a big RBI, which we talked about. His average up to 286. I mean, he was really, really good today. And we look across that lineup with Williamson getting an RBI right there in that 6th spot. And the lineup depth was there for the Rays. And their big boys showed up. Yandy and Jr. really showed up today for the Rays. And, we kind of talked about the Rays got away from that a little bit. The lineup depth hasn't been there during this little wonky stretch that they've been on. But this was the type of game that this was the way the Rays played during their winning streak last week. And it was refreshing to see that again. And the Rays just looked rejuvenated today. Maybe it's because they got the early lead. Maybe because it was a day game with an off day tomorrow. I don't know. But it was good to see because they just looked refreshed. They looked confident. They looked calm. And like we talked about, even when the Reds got the bases loaded with nobody out, there wasn't any panic in anyone kind of in that mound meeting or with Fortes or Martinez. And then the offense just looked calm and collected all day. And they really punished Williamson for the mistakes that he made. And that was one of the big keys that we talked about yesterday. So very happy the whole lineup contributed. Yandy Diaz, by the way, if you missed it, is now up to 4th all-time on the Rays hit list, which is just crazy. It just shows that Yandy just continues to rake. His average this year's up to 340 after another 3-hit day today, including a 108-mile-per-hour RBI single in that 2nd inning. As, again, just a complete team win. It was good to see the Rays get back to their game and win the way that they know how to win. But we're going to talk about how the Rays have been hitting lefties really well this year. We're going to look ahead to what's going to be a very interesting Twins series and a really good pitching matchup on Friday night. All of that right after this. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are here, where every possession matters, every matchup is magnified, and every game can swing a series. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a great way to get in on the action. And here's what I like most about it. You can bet just $5 on any bet. It can be the easiest bet there is. It could be Cade Cunningham or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander score 10, 15 points. And if you win that bet, you get $250 in bonus bets. It just makes the whole entire playoff experience more engaging from start to finish. And tonight, I'm sure a lot of people watching this might be Magic fans as the Magic try to go up 2-0. So now's a great time to try out FanDuel. So head to FanDuel.com to get started. FanDuel, play your game. And if you guys are in the live watching the replay, whatever you may be doing, please make sure to leave a like and comment. Big time Rays win today. Now they're kind of, I wouldn't say in the driver's seat, but in much better position to potentially get a 500 or better homestand, which is always the goal during these homestands. But, let's talk about how the Rays have been hitting lefties really well, because it's something that they've really struggled against last year. And it was part of the reason why they got off to that slow start until right around, I guess, a week in the future, a year ago, they finally started turning around. But the Rays did not get off to a good start last year. A lot of that was not being able to hit lefties well. They've been hitting lefties really well today. And then what's another thing they did today that they didn't do well in the past, in the last few games during their little skid, was get the runner home from third. They were able to do that a ton today. A lot of their runs, Junior had the only home run, and it was a solo home run. The other 5 runs came on opportunistic baseball. You see John DeLuca with the sac fly it was a pop out to right field. It was barely the right fielder came way in. You don't see that a lot. But that was the Rays playing the Rays way and continue to take advantage of how they play. And it just puts so much pressure on the team. But the Rays are thankfully done playing the NL Central. The NL Central has really had the Rays number recently. So Rays will not play another AL Central team this season, which, again, is a big sigh of relief for Rays fans. But the team the Rays will play next is the Minnesota Twins. And the Twins are coming off beating up on the Mets, who continue to lose. So the Twins this year are 12-11, kind of a surprise team. The Reds actually swept the Twins before the Twins took the first game against the Mets. So it will be Drew Rasmussen versus, you guessed it, Taj Bradley going for the Twins. Bradley so far is 3-0 with a 1.6 ERA, 34 strikeouts. He's been really good for the Twins, obviously, since being traded from the Rays. And I'm happy for Taj. I always like Taj. Didn't work out here for a multitude of reasons, but he's been really, really good for the Twins. But I will say, all these people saying it's the worst trade ever, and there's been a lot of like Eric Hander hate on Rays Twitter, which I get. I mean, his trades haven't been fantastic, but like, let's relax on the Griffin Jackson, Taj Bradley trade stuff. Taj Bradley won AL Pitcher of the Month when he was with the Rays before. So he's been on these hot streaks before. I'm not saying Taj Bradley is not going to be some ace for the Twins. He very well might be, but I still don't necessarily disagree with giving away Taj Bradley when the Rays did. And if you're offered that trade to Eric Neander again right now, he'd probably do it again right now because Taj was just so inconsistent for the Rays last year. But I'm really happy to see him finding his footing so far. But his last start against the Reds, he went 6 innings, 2 earned, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. He has not allowed more than 2 earned in any start this year. I mean, guys, he's been fantastic. Really, again, really happy for Taj. He's had this success. I was always a big Taj Bradley fan, but he'll be going up against Drew Rasmussen. Rasmussen, who was a little bit banged up in his last time out, only 3 2/3 because of the rain delay. 2 home runs given up. It matched his entire home run total for the season in that one game. 3 strikeouts, 2 walks. So he had more walks in that game than he had all season coming to a really abnormal Drew Rasmussen game. I very much expect him to have a bounce back tomorrow. So far this year, Rasmussen has 20 strikeouts, just 3 walks. He's been fantastic. I expect him to lock back in and give the Rays a really good opportunity to win tomorrow. And then on Saturday, it'll be Shane McClanahan versus Bailey Ober. McClanahan's due for a really good add-in, but the Rays already saw Bailey Ober. He went 4 innings, gave up 3 earned and 4 strikeouts against the Rays this year. So the Rays have had success against him this season. Junior is a guy that doubled against him. Ben Williamson had a good game that game as well. That was a game I really felt like the Rays should have won in Minnesota way back earlier in the year. But that's who the Rays will see on Saturday against Shane McClanahan, and then Sunday it will be Simon Rhodes Richardson for the Rays. I shouldn't have said his name because I feel like the Rays have played him a bunch. He has also pitched against the Rays this year. 6 2/3, 2 strikeouts or 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, only 1 run given up. He's had success against the Rays, but so far this year is 0-3 with a 5.96 ERA for the Twins. But that was the game the Rays won on Easter in extra innings. It's the one that Woods Richardson pitched in. So, look, I think it's an advantageous series for the Rays. I really like their pitching matchups in the first 2 games specifically. But, man, it'll be really nice to take 2 out of 3 from the Twins again and finish at least 500 in this homestand. But let's go to the comments. We'll start with Jose Rodriguez. Says, amazing pitching by Martinez, but why not leave him in to finish the game? It's early. It's too early in the season for that. The Rays don't do that a lot. They let Zach Littell do it last year, and Littell got up to like 120, 113 pitches, whatever it was. But it's all strategic in what the Rays do. I wasn't surprised. I thought 8 innings was enough. I think he finished with 95 pitches. Martinez did in the game, so that had to do a lot of it. The Rays don't want their pitchers touching 100 pitches, especially this early at 95 pitches. So nothing crazy there. As we go to Gary here, he says, don't mean the question on the lineup after a win. Hope that Cash hasn't given up on putting Chandler in the leadoff spot. He serves as a catalyst and jumps around the offense, lengthens the lineup. He wasn't hitting the lineup leadoff today because it was a lefty. So it had nothing to do, I don't think. I think, against a righty on Friday, he'll be hitting leadoff again. But he has not hit leadoff against a lefty all year. Yandy's been in that spot, and Yandy looked really good in that spot today. And I think that's going to be the same kind of lineup we see against lefties going forward. Now, the Rays don't see a lefty in the Twins series. And after the Twins, they go and take on the Guardians. And the Guardians have had a really good lefty who the Rays will see on Monday in Cleveland in Parker Messick. So, we'll see what the Rays lineup looks like in that game against Messick. But that's what the Rays have been doing a lot this year, is putting Yandy in that leadoff spot against lefties. But as we continue through here, as we go to Rhonda Buckman, says Taj is very up and down, high ceiling, low floor, and he's in that high right now. Again, I always wish Taj the best. He was really good for the Rays, but let's hope that he has a off game on Friday to let the Rays get another win. But yeah, that's part of the reason why the Rays traded him. He wasn't consistent enough, and shout out to the Twins for whatever they found in him so far. He's been consistent. So again, if you guys are in here, please make sure to leave a like and get any more comments in here as we start to wrap up, as the Rays win and get a big bounce back, snap their skid, winning 6-1 over the Reds. Reds are good, man. Watching the Reds and watching the entire NL Central, dangerous division. NL Central, I think, is what people might have thought the AL East would be this year. Obviously, Boston and Toronto aren't getting off to hot starts, even though I'm pretty sure Toronto's won the last two. But yeah, I've been impressed with the Central. Glad the Rays are done playing them and can get through the rest of their schedule. But yeah, impressed with the Central, but impressed that the Rays were able to come back and get really an easy win, even though there's some stressful moments in this game. So we're going to go get out of here. Again, if you guys are in the live watching the replay, listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, please make sure to leave a like and comment. Let's make sure to get our likes back up. They've been down over the few losses that we have, which is expected, but Rays win, might as well leave a like. So again, off day tomorrow for the Rays. The Rays will not play until Friday against the Twins at home against the Trop. If you guys are in town, make sure to head out there. Tickets are not too expensive to get back into the Trop. So again, off day tomorrow. Friday's game is a normal 6:40 start time, and we'll see you guys after that game on Friday. Thank you guys so much for watching.